What is the biggest thing holding you back in your life? Is it your lack of skills or your lack of qualifications? Maybe you don't have enough money, or you were born at the wrong time in the wrong place. Perhaps you don't have enough time to pursue your passions. Or maybe it's the weather. Have you noticed how we use these type of excuses to shy away from a challenge? But what if the challenge you are faced with could transform your life and fulfill your potential? Hey guys, I'm Richard Odell, and in this video we're going to examine how limiting beliefs are mental roadblocks that quietly shape your decisions. You may make excuses like having a lack of funds, time, or living in the wrong place, blah de blah, but that's not what's holding you back really. Limiting beliefs are holding you back. You see, limiting beliefs are information stored in neurons in the brain. Now, this information is communicated via neural networks and prompts you to make a decision about what you will do with your life. Now, I've explained this in more detail in part 4 of this 5-part series, so if you haven't seen my explanation about how archetypes are neural networks, then go and watch that after this video. But basically, we absorb information from the environment, which is then decoded, processed and stored by the central nervous system. This information is then retrieved by the brain in response to whatever situation you are encountering. Now, the stored information is communicated to different parts of the brain, which determines how you respond to the external world. If the information you have stored is a memory of failure, or you're not being a good enough person, then you develop a limiting belief that steers your decision making in directions that try to avoid that same pain of failing or of not feeling good enough. So instead, the information in your neural networks invents an excuse that you don't feel competent, or makes you do something that doesn't expose you to risk of failure. And these excuses are probably also memories as well. So I remember when I was a kid, I used to get told off quite often. But sometimes I couldn't understand why I was being made to feel bad. What had I actually done wrong? Now, I'm sure some things were genuinely my fault, and it's just being a kid growing up. But also it was overzealous adults who couldn't tolerate children and used discipline rather than nurturing techniques as a learning tool. So eventually I started then making excuses to justify why I wasn't bad or denied I'd done any wrongdoing, because I didn't want to feel as though I was not good enough. Also, I was misunderstood, or I couldn't help it. It just happened. Again, you learn that making excuses becomes a coping mechanism, a habit that protects you from feeling bad or feeling incompetent or like a failure. So remember, a memory is a learned behaviour. This means a limiting belief is a learned behaviour. We learn various behaviours to protect us from pain or emotional disturbance. For example, you may have learned not to speak up for yourself or express your needs and desires because you were disciplined for being selfish or mean. You then develop a limiting belief that you are self-centered and that this is bad. Then you'll learn to be kind and unfriendly by doing things for other people because you have a limiting belief that you are bad because you are mean, selfish and absorbed. You also learn to feel uncomfortable asking other people for help because you don't want them to think that you are selfish, self-absorbed and unkind, because that's not good. And then you learn never to ask for help because it makes you feel guilty because you're self-centered and selfish. Now, this is what a typical pattern might look like if you have a limiting belief that asking for help is selfish and self-centered, all because you were made to feel bad for being selfish as a child, even though a child wouldn't know any better. So then you stop speaking up for yourself. And when you do that, you stop communicating your needs. In reality, when you don't communicate your needs, you don't get what you need and you don't get fulfilled. That leaves you disappointed, frustrated and angry. You then start ruminating that you do everything for everybody else and nobody does anything for you, which makes you relive the anger, frustration and disappointment over and over again. Years later, you develop a limiting belief that you're no good and that you fail at everything you do. So eventually you stop trying altogether. When you examine your life, you may actually recognise the real reason why you feel like a failure is because you never gave yourself time to learn how to be a success. And when you become a people pleaser, then you start giving all your time, resources and energy away so that you don't feel like a failure, or so that you don't feel selfish, self-centered or unkind. But it's those limiting beliefs stored in your memory that have held you back. Just that you didn't notice all the things that you were doing for other people were because you felt incompetent, you felt like a failure, you felt you weren't good enough, you felt unworthy. So is it time you reframed your limiting beliefs? Because you can. So what I want you to do right now is ask yourself, what do you actually want to achieve in life? What is your passion? What is your desire? Now, whatever your passions and desires are potential. Now, quantum physics shows us that energy exists in bundles called potentia, which you can see is taken from the word potential. Now, quantum physics also knows that energy does not exist without information and matter. Information is consciousness. Matter is a lived experience. Thoughts, emotions and actions create your experience of reality. So how you experience life is determined by information in your neural networks that influence your thoughts, emotions and actions. So let's look at the word information. Information. It implies a state of becoming. Whilst you are trying to fulfill your potential, you are in a state of becoming. Now, when you align your behaviours with your thoughts and feelings, then you grow towards your state of becoming. You move towards it. Actions open you up to new experiences. Those new experiences are then absorbed, decoded, processed and stored as memory by the central nervous system. They are then retrieved by the brain, which then prompt you to take other actions, which then expose you to new experiences. So all these new experiences, all these new learned behaviours that you are storing as memory help you to transform your life and fulfill your potential. Energy transforms by acquiring new information. As individuals, we transform by expanding our conscious awareness. Even Laszlo explains that information exists throughout nature, and in his book Science and the Akashic Field he writes, information is present and has a decisive role in all principal domains of nature. Of course, the information that is present in nature is not the everyday form of information, but a special kind. It is information, the active, physically effective variety that forms the recipient, whether it is quantum, a galaxy, or a human being. In other words, you reach your destination by adding more information to your neural networks. Information that informs you how to respond to the environment in an appropriate manner. And without the limiting beliefs that make you respond like as a people pleaser, or neglect your own goals, or don't even try in the first place, then you're more inclined to make the right steps towards achieving success, towards manifesting your potential, that desire that started as a thought. Charles Darwin showed that nature survived when it was able to adapt to its environment. Well, adding information to existing neural networks is the brain's way of adapting to your environment. And when you adapt, you thrive. You thrive by adding information to your neural networks, the qualities of the archetypes. And energy transforms in 3 stages. It starts off as potential, which is the child, immature. It then starts to learn and becomes an adult, which is mature. As you practice more and you master something, you become wise, a wise, mature adult. So you will know from personal experience that you become a better person when you learned new skills or new traits or attitudes, right? You evolved when you recognized you made a mistake and learned how not to do something. And then you'll learn how to do something better. And then you'll learn how to do it properly. You got better at something when you practiced it, when you took on more information. You evolved every time you handled a situation that went better than you expected. You know those moments when you felt proud of yourself? You had those experiences, right? You took them on board. They made you a better person. Those learned behaviours made you practice and respond to your environment better moving forward. So if you know from experience that you can transform your life and fulfill your potential, then why are you allowing limiting beliefs to hold you back? I'm Richard O'Dale, and I can help you to master mind content and eliminate limiting beliefs. And if you want to know even more about how to use archetypes, then why not join me for weekly meetups on Zoom? For just £45 a month, you can get access to the archetypes tool together with additional mindset tools for each archetype, plus an overview of the archetype sent directly to your inbox, plus insightful content each week that can help you reach self-awareness and transform your life. But the biggest benefit is the weekly meetups, which give you the opportunity to share your experiences and wisdom. You can tell us what you learned so that the rest of the group learn as well, because your knowledge can help others, and the knowledge of other people can help you. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. So my goal is for us to share these stories and experience, to discuss what we learn and provide advice for everyone who asks for it. So don't be shy to share a challenge if you're facing one, because there'll be somebody in the group that can offer advice that helps you get over that hurdle. Because look, together we're stronger. And with a community that is dedicated to personal growth, success and transformation, I believe more of us will grow faster and easier. So sign up today by clicking the link in the description and head over to the Mastermind Content website. Alternatively, send me a DM to arrange a free 30-minute discovery which will leave you feeling energized and optimistic. I look forward to seeing you soon. I'm Richard O'Dale and this is Mastermind Content. Bye-bye.